So Miss Jinx worked with the team to feed information to the AI tool so it could answer questions daily on a daily basis in her usual chatty and direct manner. I'm so excited to develop this chatbot, she said. Staff can now ask me questions whenever they want and receive a reply straight away. It's lovely they've kept my name, and some of the staff have told me that they've actually thought they were chatting with me. I guess that's because I've written all the answers. Okay, so they have turned this woman, Geraldine, into a chatbot. She has not lost her job. Good. I'm glad for Geraldine, because that would be a very sad article if it was Geraldine had trained a chatbot and immediately lost her job. It sounds like this is something she does unofficially on the side, but she's so useful that she's become the go-to. Obviously, that is the kind of darker side here. So Geraldine has worked for Peterborough for 35 years. We may not need someone like Geraldine in the future because all of that institutional knowledge has now been saved into this chatbot. Once we have ways to, sounds terrible, but to extract that institutional knowledge from the staff members, from emails, for example, we could do it automatically, from messages going back and forward, from meeting notes. Once we have a way to extract all of that automatically, we don't need to go through this manual process of interviewing Geraldine or interviewing somebody like her in order to get that information. So I think this is great for Geraldine herself, and I should have read ahead and made sure I knew what was actually going on. But yes, we do need to be aware of the fact that by doing this, if we can create these kind of chatbots, this does mean we need less people in an organization, because suddenly that information is not stored in the head of one person. It is available to everybody via the AI within the organization. However, if this means we can provide better service in the healthcare system, for example, fantastic. Okay, this is not the tragedy that I thought. I thought she'd lost her job, but instead she's been institutionalized. It actually reminds me of, so I have a chatbot that's based on me. I built it using Delphi, which is a really cool piece of software. It's fairly inexpensive. I want to say about $20 a month or so. And I fed in maybe 500,000 words that I'd written myself for my newsletter, because I write a huge amount. So primarily on the uses of AI to help start and grow businesses. I've written half a Bible's worth in the last year and a half. So I fed all of that in. I fed in transcripts of my videos. I fed in all the information I could. And my students can use that, and they can use it to talk to me on a one-to-one basis. And I had a guy called Tamas the other day, last week. He actually shot a video about, hey, I've just had an hour-long conversation with Kyle Balmer. And so I saw this video. I was like, I don't remember this call. And Tamas was saying, I called up Kyle's AI avatar, his AI clone, and I basically chatted to it about business problems and what I should be doing and what kind of AIs I can use, etc., for over an hour. And it helped me to work through some problems. Oh, wow, that's really cool. So AI avatars are useful when they're given enough information. And this is the problem most people have when they're building their own digital clone, is that they don't necessarily have enough written content. They don't necessarily have enough video content to feed into the AI avatar. We can work around this by having the tool interview us. So it can ask us questions like, oh, if you were going to start a business right now, what would you start? And I would answer, giving my best opinion on the subject. But if you've already written a huge amount of stuff, you've already shot lots of video, you can just feed all of that straight in and you can skip the training phase. So if you are somebody who does write or produce content, or if you've written books, fantastic. It's well worth looking into something like Delphi or Coach VOX in order to see if you can make a digital clone of yourself, because they are genuinely useful to both your customers and also for yourself, because you can have, it sounds weird, you can have conversations with yourself, a digital version of yourself, which is it's an existentially weird thing to do, but I've also found it quite useful talking to a digital version of myself as a sounding board. So well worth looking into, especially if you have a business. I'm going to jump over to some questions. Shan is saying jobs are being lost in Birmingham City Council, not to mention they're in debt anyway. Most councils in the UK are in debt, unfortunately. Were the jobs lost due to AI? I know there's a general economic slowdown at the moment. Our growth rate is 0.1, 0.2%. I love it how the government proudly declares, oh, it's non-negative. Our growth rate is a rounding error. So the economy's in the toilet. So AI doesn't help that, but I don't think AI has necessarily caused that. So I think there's a lot of economic distress right now and job loss and inflation, but not increasing salaries. I think these have longer roots than just artificial intelligence. AI is a very useful scapegoat. We can blame a lot of stuff on AI, but I don't think most companies are replacing jobs with AI just yet. I think what's happening instead is they are creating less new positions. So especially at the lower levels, suddenly you don't need to bring in as many people because individual new recruits, individual new graduates, for example, are more productive because they are able to use AI. So you can decrease the number of people. So we've seen this in the big four in particular. I think that's more to do with AI as well as tightening the purse strings, obviously, but artificial intelligence works at those low levels really well. I don't think we're seeing that many jobs lost directly because of artificial intelligence. It's not, okay, you no longer have a job. Now there's an AI taking your place, but instead it's a decrease in the creation of new jobs, if that makes sense. And I don't know about Birmingham specifically, but I imagine like a lot of places in the country, it just doesn't have money because economically, the country, we don't build anything, unfortunately. What are the predicted in-demand skills in AI right now? So it depends what level of AI. It's a bit of a weird one. I like to think of AI like the internet. It's like a general purpose technology, a GPT. Unfortunately, GPT also stands for general purpose technology. But AI is very similar. So it's a platform, a general purpose technology on which we build other technology. So it's a bit like the internet. Some people came up with the internet protocol and how the internet works and the physical infrastructure, the physical networking, etc. But then other people built on top of the internet. So with the internet, we had the existence of the internet since the 1990s, but it took longer to work out things like social media. Like social media wasn't around for a while. E-commerce, that took some time to build. These are all different layers that are built on top of a technology. Same thing is going to happen with artificial intelligence. So your skills depend on what level and what layer you want to be building on. If you want to be at the base level, actually building models, working out the algorithms, training models, etc., then you need to learn machine learning and mathematics. Like it's very doable, but that's going to be the harder job. Obviously, you can get paid extremely well if you are doing that. Especially in researchers, Meta is grabbing as many researchers as it can, giving them $100 million bonuses. There's a lot of money being thrown into this right now. But for most of us, not me, I don't have a PhD in mathematics or machine learning, we'll be building on the levels above. So building businesses using artificial intelligence or helping other people work out how to use artificial intelligence. There's a big market there. That's where I make most of my money personally. So we won't be constructing the AIs, but we'll be building stuff using the artificial intelligences on top. So for that, I've mentioned it before, I've learned to vibe code ASAP. It's probably one of the most exciting things you can do at the moment. There are problems, there are weaknesses in vibe coding, etc., but it allows you to build, and it allows you to build something that you can then sell. I would also focus on entrepreneurial skills, on marketing, and on sales in particular. I would get into content creation, building up an audience, because, so come back to Greg Eisenberg says that the new economy is 20% building and 80% distribution. It's going to become easier and easier to build. That's not going to be the problem anymore because of AI. What's going to be harder is distribution, being able to connect with people and to actually get them interested in what it is you have to sell. And that comes from audience, that comes from marketing, that comes from sales. So these are skills I would definitely be focusing on. This is even if you don't want to run a business. The reason is we don't know what's going to happen to nine to five jobs. It's probably not going to be good. We don't know. We don't know how bad it's going to be. But I would say the safe bet right now is to set up additional streams of income. So to have other things going, other coals in the fire, just in case your job, your 9 to 5 does not pan out. And I think increasingly, most of us are going to have to become more entrepreneurial. We're going to have to become more self-sufficient, not because by being entrepreneurial necessarily successful, but by being entrepreneurial, you have more flexibility. So the only thing we know is that we don't know what's coming. People can say, oh, we're going to hit the singularity at this time. We're going to have robotics at this time. We don't know. Nobody knows. And anyone smart enough will say, we don't really know. So based on that, what you need to do is be ready. You need to be flexible, and having a job makes it hard to be flexible because you are at the whims of your employer. If your employer decides, oh yeah, we're going all in on robotics or we're going all in on AI, great, fine. Maybe they'll survive. If they say, no, we're not touching AI, we don't want anything to do with this, then they probably won't be around in a few years. And worse, if you are working for that company, you're not going to get the training you need. I highly recommend people start something on the side. Don't quit your day job, keep the job, keep the income, but build something using AI that you can start to monetize on the side. And that mainly comes through packaging up your skills, packaging up your knowledge in some kind of way, building an audience, learning marketing, learning distribution, and getting it out there. Again, I've written a 10-week summer camp, AI summer camp, totally free. It's in the newsletter. If you subscribe to the newsletter, you can then get into archives and you can find all 10 weeks. So it's a 50-part series. Finding your niche, building in public, finding your startup idea, vibe coding your MVP, beta testing, grassroots marketing, basic revenue systems. I'm writing that this week. Peer-to-peer growth, direct sales marketing, and going beyond. I haven't written that part yet, so I don't know what week 10 is yet. So skills, that's what I'd be focusing on. Flexibility, marketing, distribution, vibe coding, teaching, public speaking, building ties with people. So the things that are truly human as well, they're going to be things that AIs won't necessarily be very good at yet. So you can lean into that. So being able to speak publicly is going to be a really big one because AI won't be doing that. It won't be getting up on stage just yet. So anything where you can lean into the human, the uniquely human, is probably going to become more valuable, at least in the short term. There's a big question. I might do a long YouTube video on this, what are the most in demand skills, because it's a really good question. And whenever I talk to younger people, like my cousins and nephews and stuff like that, they'll ask me, well, what should I be studying? What should I be doing? I don't know. So I need to work out this answer. So I'll do a longer video on this. It's a great question.